Hi everyone, my name is Fischer, also known as the New York City Broker. Today I'm going to share some tips with you discussing what are pre-war and post-war buildings. And remember to contact me if you're looking to buy, sell, rent, or invest in residential or commercial real estate in New York City. Any commercial or residential building constructed after the Second World War is essentially post-war. However, most sources put the exact timeline between the 1950s and the 1990s, though some start the post-war architecture period in 1945. Buildings built before that time are pre-war, and buildings constructed after the 90s are usually considered new construction, but that new construction term can have a few different meanings. Another definition of post-war buildings covers the ones between the late 1940s and mid-1970s, and it includes another class of the building between post-war and new construction, post-1980s buildings. Benefits of post-war buildings are a rich variety of architectures available, especially buildings from the 50s and 60s. They usually have better amenities than pre-war buildings. It's relatively easier to find a post-war condo. Post-war apartments have better natural light and more closet space. They're more affordable compared to pre-war buildings. The cost of renovation is usually lower. Some cons of post-war buildings include lower ceilings, which make the apartments feel smaller, less aesthetic value, not as attractive architecture. There's a lot of white and red brick boxes. And here are some post-war building examples. The Guggenheim Museum, 1071 Fifth Ave, was built in 1959 and has beautiful post-war architecture. It was designed by the famous architect Frank Lloyd Wright. The Seagram Building at 375 Park Ave is a 516-foot-high skyscraper completed in 1958 and is counted among the best post-war architectural examples, which was shown in the New York Times. Imperial House, 150 East 69th Street, is a 30-store post-war apartment building completed in 1960 and became a co-op in 1971. So what are pre-war buildings in New York City? Commercial and residential buildings built before or during the Second World War are considered pre-war buildings. While some consider buildings in the 1800s to be pre-war as well, most agree that pre-war buildings were the ones built during the first 4 or so decades in the 20th century between the 1900s and the 1940s. Another definition stretches the timeline for pre-war buildings to the 1880s. Pre-war buildings cover a larger portion of the housing stock in New York City than post-war. A strong majority of pre-war apartment buildings are co-ops. Some pros of pre-war buildings are the character that comes with old established buildings, high ceilings, hardwood floors, and often solid wood doors. Most pre-war buildings have a unique interior and architecture. There are thicker walls which prevent noise pollution. Some cons of these buildings include that condos are very rare, so buyers are limited to co-ops. Renovations can be quite expensive, and in-building amenities like pools, gyms, common rooftops are uncommon. Some pre-war building examples are, well, if we go by the pre-war building definition that includes buildings from as far back in time as the 1880s, that includes the Dakota at 1 West 72nd Street, built in 1884, and the Osborne, 205 West 57th, completed in 1885, which are amazing examples of pre-war apartment buildings. The Chrysler Building was completed in 1930 and remained the tallest building in the world for 11 months. It was still the 12th tallest in New York City as of 2019, and the tallest brick skyscraper with a steel framework in the world. Liberty Tower at 55 Liberty Street in Manhattan is a 385-foot apartment building with a very small footprint and was completed in 1910. River House, 435 East 52nd Street, is a beautiful Art Deco architecture building in Midtown East overlooking the East River. It was completed in 1931 and has 26 floors. Thanks so much for joining me in this discussion regarding what are pre-war and post-war buildings. If you have additional questions, please feel free to reach me at brett@thenewyorkcitybroker.com. Also, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so that you, your friends, and your family members can get all the best real estate content. I'm Brett R.A. Fischer, the New York City Broker. Have a great day.